Welcome to this video. Perhaps you clicked on it because you were intrigued by the title. Maybe you want to know a little bit about ayahuasca or how ayahuasca led me to Christ. So here it goes. I'm sharing this story because although it's very personal to me and very vulnerable to share, I've shared it with a couple of people and it seemed to inspire them a little bit. So I'm hoping it'll do the same for you. If not, maybe it'll just inform you a little bit. So anyway, here it goes. Here's my story. On July 4th, 2020, I went to a Native American church and partook in an ayahuasca ceremony. It was also an eclipse that day, and it was a very powerful day. It's very tumultuous times in our nation's history, and I felt like to be at a Native American church and to partake in a ceremony like that could be very transformative for myself personally, and perhaps give me a little bit of insight as to what's going on in the world and in the cosmos and all that good stuff, which it did. So, in order to really tell the story a little bit better, I need to backtrack a little bit. I had been invited to go to this ceremony before, and I'd been hesitating. My own personal journey right now is more of one of like walking in the path, and I felt like I didn't want to take any shortcuts. I've had psychedelic experiences. I've done DMT several times and learned many things that I'm still incorporating. I'm still grounding down into my everyday life. So until I really incorporated those lessons, I felt like it just wasn't time to partake in any more psychedelic experiences. So that was my thinking at the time. My friend was luckily pretty pushy, and eventually he mentioned that there was going to be a ceremony on July 4th, and I said to myself, that sounds good. That sounds like it feels right. So I wondered, what my intention would be. And as soon as I had that question, it was kind of answered. And the answer was this. I had a dream a few months ago. And when I awoke from the dream, I could feel all this love and warmth in my heart area here, in my chest. And my being was centered here in my chest and in my heart, and I was so full of love. And when I was becoming more and more awake, in a waking state, I could feel that feeling rising up, coming away from my chest, and going basically here. Here's where my being seems to be centered a lot of the time. And I just wanted to feel that love. I wanted to center my being here in my heart and live with love and just be more balanced. So, balanced in heart and mind. So I decided that would be my intention. That's my intention. I want to live with love. I want to feel love. I realized when I awoke and then my being and the energy in my body went up into my head that my heart was like numb. I wasn't feeling a lot. I've been stuffing emotions down and up for quite some time due to my own ignorance in regards to how to deal with like traumatic events and stuff like that. So I just wanted to feel love. So that was my intention. So we travel about 6 hours to go to this Native American church. And I get there, and the people there are very welcoming. They seem very loving. The atmosphere was beautiful. We were out in nature. I camped out and slept in my tent on the ground, on the earth, which is something that I really needed to do. And yeah, so I spent the next day just exploring the grounds, going to, there was a river that runs through the property, and enjoying the people, and eating healthily. I had been eating nothing but kitchery for the week ahead of the ceremony, other than the 2 days prior. So this happened on a Saturday. So Friday and Saturday, I ate nothing but raw food. I did that because I heard that you most likely purge, which means throwing up, and I guess some people shit. And if you eat healthy, that it helps with that. That's what I heard. I'm not sure that was the case, because I've only had one experience with ayahuasca, and I ate healthy and I still purged, and it was pretty intense. Nevertheless, on Saturday, I spent time with some of the people there, and connected with some of them. And then Saturday evening at 9 o'clock, we were to start. So there was 25 of us there, and we were led by a shaman. And the shaman didn't partake in the ayahuasca ceremony, but he said that he had taken some ayahuasca earlier in that day. So he was there to just, I guess, facilitate and be there for anyone in case they needed something. So 25 of us were there, like I said. We all sat in a circle, and we shared our intentions, and I shared my intention, and then we drank the ayahuasca. And we all did it one at a time. And the women went first, and we took the ayahuasca. It was in this like little clear cup, and it was like this brown liquid. And we offered it up to the heavens, to the cosmos, to the Father, down to the earth, to the Mother, to our divine feminine side, our divine masculine side. And then we did a little circle toward ourselves, drank it, did a circle out, gave the cup back to the shaman, and then went off of the stage. There was a little stage set up, and there were like lights that you would see like in a club, because the intention was more of like a celebratory thing. It was July 4th. It was to be like an outward expression of whatever someone might want to express. So that was the intention. Although my experience was very much more introverted. So we took the ayahuasca, and then the shaman recommended that anyone who would like to do yoga and dancing. So I partook in that, and there was a group of us that were on the stage, and we were dancing and doing sun salutations while we danced, and it was just a fun time. And so we did that for a little bit, 30, 40 minutes, something like that. And then I was kind of pooped. So I went to go sit in the grass, and I had laid down a blanket, and others did as well. And there was a fire pit, and there was a bunch of us that had laid blankets around the fire pit. So we were there. Some people were joking around. It was fun. And others had like lights, and they were dancing with the lights, and it was awesome. And I felt like, for a while, it felt like a mushroom trip. And this was probably like an hour or so after I had drinking it, maybe a little bit longer. And I was sitting there, I was watching people dance, and I had the thought, like, this is awesome, but am I going to feel the DMT? And about 5 minutes after that, I began to feel the DMT. And it kind of was more of a slower creep, um, rather than if one smokes DMT, it's like a rocket ship into the next dimension. So it's very fast. So it slowly started to come on, and I recognized what was happening because I've, like I said, had some experience with DMT. And lessons started to come in, and I began to communicate with God and creative intelligence, whatever you want to call it. And kind of the first thing that came up was some inner monologue that was going on, and I was hyper focused on the words I was using. And I just really realized how important self talk is. Self talk is so important. It creates the narrative which manifests our lives. So that was a great realization. I realized that my self talk was not very helpful, it wasn't the most helpful. And I had an underlying belief that I was weak, that there was a weakness about me, which is not true, which was revealed to me to be not true. And a little bit after that, I was laying on my blanket and I started to get in touch with my ancestors, particularly the men on my father's side. And it's something that I have never thought about really, like connecting to my ancestors. As far as my family goes, we don't talk about that. We don't try to engage in any ancestry work, or it's just not a thought in my family. Um, so that was a surprise to me. One, that I had never even thought about connecting to my ancestors, and two, um, what was really eye opening to me was just how strong these men are, and that I come from a line of strong men, and I am a strong man. And I began to clench my fist like this. And as I did, my fist became like perfectly clenched. And I could still do it, and you could probably do it at home too. If you make your fist tight enough, there's a point where it becomes like perfectly clenched in a very like clean way. It's hard to describe. It's almost like if you've ever hit a baseball or a golf ball and you just hit it perfect and it feels like nothing happened, like all the energy was perfectly dispersed, but the hit is like perfect. That's kind of the feeling. So anyway, I realized that I come from a line of strong men and I am not weak. And then a memory came to me. And the memory was of my 17th birthday. And on that day, I was in juvenile hall. And I was in a 23-hour lockdown because they were moving people around and stuff. And that's just how the cookie crumbles. So I was by myself all day long in this cell on my birthday. And I had completely forgotten about that memory. It's something I don't think about, but it had been affecting me. And there's so many things in our lives that we just take for granted and we sweep under the rug, and they play on us and they pull the strings. So I was aware that, oh yeah, I did go through this experience. And it was traumatic. But also, I got through it and I was strong and I did that. And that was the main lesson. It was like, look what you did. You already went through this thing. That was hard, man. You did it though. You did it. You came out unscathed. And, give yourself some more credit. You're stronger than you think. So that was a good lesson. And then the DMT was really coming on. It was really coming on strong. And kind of out of nowhere, all of these snakes began to emerge into my consciousness. And it was like hundreds and hundreds of snakes coming from the bottom of my point of view. And there was like layers of them, and they were coming in and out and emerging and disappearing, and it was like snakes. And it wasn't frightening in the sense that I didn't think that like these snakes were going to hurt me or anything. I knew that they weren't physically with me, but it was a little alarming. And when the snakes came in, I realized, one, that it's an aspect of nature. It's like the fourth dimensional kind of construct and template of primitive nature. And also that I am a part of that, and it is a part of me. We all have reptilian parts of our brain. So, that was all kind of simultaneously revealed to me, that I have a primitiveness to me as well. And that thing will continue much longer than I will. It will keep living on and on and on and on and on. So there were snakes, and then there was like insects and stuff like that. And kind of out of nowhere, this is where it gets a little freaky. There was an upside down pentagram. And I need to be careful here because I don't want to necessarily envision it, because when I did, it opened up a portal, and the upside down pentagram emerged, and behind it came Baphomet, the goat being, deity. I recognized it as Lucifer. That's what it felt like to me. That's what he felt like to me. And I was like, oh shit, what did I do here? Oh fuck. And as I thought that, I kind of simultaneously realized that there was Freemasonry in my bloodline. I have some great uncles on my mother's side and aunts that were involved in Freemasonry, and I knew that they didn't really understand what they were getting into, and that this is what Freemasonry was calling into existence, was grounding into Earth. This primitive Baphomet, Luciferian being and existence. So I was like, oh, fuck. Okay, well, I need to make sure I don't choose that. I don't choose to engage in Freemasonry. And it's something that I had thought about doing in the past and just never pulled the trigger on it. And I thank the Lord that I didn't. Because although there are good people and nice people that are Freemasons, at its core, it seems to be Luciferian. And I want nothing to do with that. So that was the first thought. And then Lucifer began to engage with me. And I was thinking, oh, fuck, man, I don't have any spiritual weaponry in my arsenal. I don't know how to shake this off. I don't know how to change this geometric pattern of the upside down pentagram and the snakes, and it was all just like overwhelming, and it was just like hitting me, and I couldn't do anything about it. I was kind of like just caught off guard. So he began to engage with me, and it was July 4th. And he said, "Do you have an allegiance to the United States of America?" And I thought about it, and I thought, no, my allegiance is to divinity, is to love. That's where my allegiance lies, not necessarily with America. And he said, "The age of allegiance is dead. I shall take this now." And there was like the geometric or the geographic outline of America. And he went to grab it. And I was like, "No, you won't." Boom. And I took it before he can grab it. Boom. Just like that. He was like, "I will take this now." And I was like, boom, nah. You will not. So I had it, and I had America in my hand. And I was like, I have no fucking idea what to do with this. I don't know what to do with this at all. Who can I give this to? And then it dawned on me, I can give it to Christ. I have to give this to Christ. Christ is the one. Christ is the one. So I gave it to Christ. And then Christ came in, and it was kind of like cutting back and forth between Christ and Lucifer at this point. So Christ came in, and he was like, basically, what are you doing? What are you doing? You're out here in the middle of nowhere, engaging in this ceremony that is, for lack of a better word, like a pagan thing was going on. And then I had awareness of like what everyone else was doing, and they were like dancing, and it was just kind of overwhelming. And he was like, basically, I'm going to paraphrase here because there wasn't a clear like English communication going on. It was kind of telepathic for the most part. And he said, basically, like, you didn't come to me first. You didn't come to me first. You're over here trying out all these different spiritual practices. You're doing psychedelics here. You're doing psychedelics now. Now you're engaged in something that you have no idea how to control or battle. And you didn't come to me first. Look at you. You're over here talking to Lucifer. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I don't know you. He told me that. I don't know you. And I'm turning my back on you. And he turned his back on me. And I was like, oh my God, no. No. Fuck. What did I do? I am so sorry. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. And he turned back around and he said, your soul is on the chopping block like everybody else. I'm coming and I'm going to purify this place. And if your heart is not pure, you are no exception. I will damn you as well. And I was like, whoa, okay. I'm sorry. I did not know what I was engaging in. And he's like, but you did it. You did it. You engaged in it. And now look where you are. And he left. And I was like, fuck, my soul is on the line. Fuck. None of these people here can help me. The shaman couldn't help me. The friend couldn't help me. It's all on us. Our own soul is our sole responsibility. So be be mindful and be aware and be heartful of the actions that we take, because our souls are literally on the line. So that happened. And then Lucifer came back in, and the upside down pentagram was there, and the snakes and all that shit. And at this point, I was purging. And so I'm throwing up, blah, blah, blah. And I'm on my hands and knees. And man, dude, it was intense. When I got on my hands and knees, the snakes and the insects got really like alive and vibrant. And at that point, Lucifer wanted to engage with me more. And I can tell he wanted to start like making some kind of deal with me. And I was like, no, whatever you have to say, no, I want nothing to do with you. I know that you are not coming from a place of love. You don't love me. And if you had your way, you would let all these snakes and insects devour me, devour my body, devour my soul. I want nothing to do with you. Be gone. And at that point, he left. The snakes were still there, and that upside down pentagram was still there. That portal was still like reverberating, for lack of a better word. And that was that. So now I'm purging, and I'm like, fuck, dude, this is so intense, man. I just want off the ride. I want off the ride. I don't want this to go on anymore. I get it. I have my lessons. Thank you. And the lessons weren't over. God told me, creative intelligence told me, there is no off the ride, dude. There's no off the ride. You are on this ride. You exist, and you will not cease to exist. So there's no off the ride. Embrace it. Go into it. And that's something that I struggle with personally. I've struggled with depression and stuff in the past. And when I get depressed, I tend to like want to sleep and just push it away, black it out. And so I began to get into that pattern. I started leaning to my left, like I was wanting to like go to sleep, and it was like, that's not the way. That's not the way. Don't do that. That's not the way. Lean to your right. Get up. Stand up. Get up. You can do it. Get up. And then the self-talk started to come in. Okay, you got to get up, dude. You got to get up. You can get up. Let's go. Let's go. So I battled myself a little bit there, and I was going like, no, I want to go to sleep. No, get up. No, I want to go. No, get up. And eventually I got up, and it was like the longest 40-foot walk back to my blanket. So I get back to my blanket, and I'm laying there, and it's starting to wear off and wear down. And there was a call to do another round if anybody wanted to do one. I was like, no, I get it. I got what I needed to get. Thank you. I got the message. I'm hanging up the phone. So I'm laying there, and there's still the pentagram and the snakes and all that good stuff. And I'm like, okay, I just got to like wait this out. I got to just wait this out. And as I'm sitting there, laying there, I'm thinking, okay, I have to get my spiritual weapons up. There is a battle going on in higher dimensions and here of good and evil. Straight up, it's that simple. Good and evil. There's a battle for our minds and our hearts and our souls. And I need to get my spiritual weaponry up so that I can fight for the light. Literally battle for the light. So I've been doing that since. And the way that I've been doing it is through scriptures and prayer. So a friend checked up on me, which was really nice. And just that simple, like, hey, how you doing? Was just like, oh, man, thank you, man. Thank you for, like, even caring at all. Um, and also a bird was chirping. And a bird had been chirping toward the end of my purging when things were really intense. And it was singing, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's the most beautiful sound ever. Thank you for just giving me a little bit of light in this darkness. Um, so yeah, so that was basically it. Couldn't sleep that night. Slept a little bit from like 8 to 10, and then we left the next day around 6 p.m. And the whole time I'm still up here. My heart hadn't opened at all. I was still engaging from here. I was still centered here. Um, so I'm driving home, thinking about everything, talking with my friend, and I remembered that bird singing. And I love to sing. Whenever I'm singing, I'm happy. So the song came in, and it was Kanye's song. Use this gospel for protection. It's a hard road to heaven. We call on your blessings. In the Father, we put our faith. And my heart opened in that, in giving praise to God and to Christ. And I thought, I knew at that second, I have to give my life to Christ, man. I have to devote my life to Christ. That's the way for me. I've done so many different things and spiritual practices and esoteric stuff. And I went to Maharishi University of Management for 5 years to learn meditation and to dive deep. I learned Sanskrit, and those things are helpful and they're useful. But for me, Christ is the way. And I remembered like being younger, being a kid and being in youth group and singing to Christ, and those were some of the best times of my life. And it was just I felt very pure in those times, and I I want to live in that. I want to live in that, and walk the path in Christ. And Christ told me, this is going to be hard. It's going to be difficult, but you can do it. You can do it. And he didn't turn his back on me anymore. He welcomed me, and I opened my heart to him, and got home. And I'm still having tracers of the upside down pentagram and the snakes and stuff like that. And I'm like, man, I don't want to go to sleep, because if I go to sleep, I don't know what's going to happen. This portal's still kind of open. I feel like I'm going to be vulnerable in that state. Like my spirit's going to be open to attack. So I'm like, okay, what can I do? And I started playing I searched like Christian songs on YouTube, which is something I never do, have never done. And the first song that came up was this song by, I think they're called For God and Country. And this is at like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. The first lyrics were something like, wide awake while the world is sound asleep, and too afraid of what might show up while you're dreaming. And I was like, oh, shit. This is synchronistic as fuck right now. That's exactly how I feel and what I'm going through. And I just began to listen to Christian music and really get in the spirit of Christ. And I was just crying to Christ and saying, thank you so much for taking me back, for allowing me to at least try to prove myself and redeem me. Thank you so much. I didn't realize my soul was on the line like that. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And he was like, you're welcome, you're welcome. It's going to be difficult, but you can do it. You can do this. And, walk the path, walk the path, walk the path, walk the path. Every day, walk the path. So I was just giving praise all night long, and the sun was about to come up, and Christ told me, let's go for a walk. Take a walk with me. And I was like, okay, let's go. And so he said, let's go to the park and watch the sunrise together. And I said, let's go. So I open my door, my front door, and I take about 10 steps out, and I see about 10 feet away from me is a dove. And when I see the dove, it flies off, and I just fall to my knees. My knees buckled. They just collapsed. My body collapsed. And I was like, thank you for this sign. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for loving me and for showing me that I'm on the right path, that this is true, that you are the way for me. Thank you so much. And it brought me to my knees, and I was just crying, weeping. And he was like, you're welcome. Now let's get up and walk. I walked to the park, which is a couple blocks from me, and I was barefoot, and I could like feel Christ walking with me. Like he was like on my left. I was on his right. And it was amazing. It was so amazing. And I watched the sunrise, and that was that. And that's how ayahuasca brought me to Christ. So if there's any of you out there who would like to maybe comment on this video or reach out to me, I'm new to this whole following Christ thing, and I'm trying to figure out how to navigate it and how to kind of identify with it, because I don't really identify with organized religion. I just love Christ, and I would like to have some more friends. I have a friend or two that also loves Christ, but I'd like to just engage with people who feel that way as well. So if you're one of those people and you want to reach out, feel free to reach out to me. I hope this video was helpful for you. Thank you for your time, and God bless you.